back. We are less than a week away from the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Our team coverage of that tragic event begins today with a look at the storm that destroyed the ship. Northern News Now's meteorologist Dave Anderson has the story.
In November 1975, I was an 11-year-old paperboy delivering the sad news that the Edmund Fitzgerald had gone down. 50 years later, those memories are still fresh. It's August 1975, and people are climbing aboard the Edmund Fitzgerald as she loads for another run down the Great Lakes. This is the last known footage of the vessel found during the research of Poplar native Ryan Mahalik, who's a Great Lakes shipping historian. He'll be giving a presentation on the Fitz's last voyage to Zug Island near Detroit.
National Steel had a steel-making plant down there on the island, and it was scheduled to be the last run of the season.
In the meantime, a strong Colorado low had brewed up on November 8th. It became a stronger panhandle hook low on the 9th with the dive towards Texas. It became a bomb cyclone on the 10th of November.
It's basically when the center of the low pressure system drops 24 millibars in 24 hours.
The Fitzgerald was on her way to Zug Island when the bomb went off on Lake Superior.
You get wind, a big temperature difference, and usually that also means, well, if you have moisture around, then you get precipitation as well.
Those hurricane-strength forces wrecked the ship's radars and sent her seeking shelter from the storm.
Now we just hope to make it to Whitefish, which was their goal, to at least get in the shelter and get into the lee. And unfortunately, that never happened.
A freighter carrying a crew of 29 disappeared on Lake Superior during a severe storm last night, and so far, no survivors have been found.
Storm systems don't last forever, and by November 11th, 1975, it started weakening near Pennsylvania. The legend of the Fitzgerald and her crew has strengthened ever since. On November 13th, Ryan Mahalik and I will host a seminar on the sinking of the Fitzgerald and the monster storm that did the job at the Richard Bong Museum in Superior. Celebrating 250 years in Duluth, Minnesota, I'm Dave Anderson for We the People.
We the People is a monthly segment that all of our gray media stations will be running, touching on important moments in American history. It is part of our nation's celebration of 250 years of independence.